With another night separating the team from its next time on the court, the conversation around Golden State continues to heat up, especially among fans who are growing restless with the ups and downs of this season. One theme that keeps resurfacing is frustration aimed at the head coach, with many voices insisting that a change on the sideline is the only way forward. That reaction is understandable when expectations are high and results feel uneven. But the reality behind the scenes is far more layered than simply pointing at the coach and calling for his exit. The structure of this organization does not place all roster power in one set of hands, and while the coach designs schemes and manages rotations, he operates within a broader vision that involves the front office and ownership working together. There is a clear level of trust between the coach, the general manager, and ownership, and that alignment matters more than many fans want to admit. Coaching decisions are not made in a vacuum, and neither are personnel moves. The coach provides input, advocates for certain skill sets, and pushes for players who fit the system. But final decisions are shaped by long-term planning, salary structure, and future flexibility. Because of that, the idea that a mid-season firing would magically unlock a championship run does not hold much weight. Even more important, the leadership at the top has already shown that they believe continuity gives this roster its best chance to stabilize and compete. Another point that often gets overlooked is timing. Even if a change were possible, the middle of a season is rarely the moment when a new coach can fully implement a philosophy, especially with a veteran roster chasing wins now. Installing a new system, redefining roles, and rebuilding trust takes time, and time is something contenders rarely have. The names that frequently get mentioned as replacements may bring interesting resumes or developmental success elsewhere, but championship experience at the highest level is a different challenge altogether. Managing stars, egos, expectations, and pressure is a skill that cannot be assumed, and history has shown how quickly things can unravel when that balance is lost. What keeps the current staff firmly in place is their proven ability to work with the core of this team. The chemistry between the coach and the veteran leaders is not accidental, and it has been forged through years of playoff battles, title runs, and moments when adjustments mattered most. That core remains the heartbeat of the franchise, and it is expected to stay intact through the near future. As long as that group believes in the direction, it is difficult to imagine ownership stepping in and forcing a dramatic change that could fracture stability even further. There is also a broader misunderstanding about what success looks like right now. The goal is still a championship, but the path toward it is not as clean as it once was. The Western Conference is deeper, younger, and more physical, and climbing out of the play-in territory requires more than just motivational speeches or new play calls. It requires the right mix of personnel, health, and timing. When the roster has clicked in the past, the ceiling has been obvious. There were stretches after key acquisitions where the team looked unstoppable, stringing together wins and overwhelming opponents with pace, spacing, and experience. Those flashes are not forgotten inside the building. Because of that belief, the idea of tearing everything down right now does not align with how this organization operates. Ownership has consistently shown a willingness to push chips forward rather than retreat. Losing seasons are not part of the long-term identity they want to accept, and when adversity hits, the response is usually to double down instead of stepping back. That mindset can be risky, but it also reflects confidence in the foundation that has already delivered championships in the past. When things fall short, the instinct is to adjust around the margins rather than detonate the entire structure. Looking ahead, there's an understanding that every era eventually ends, but that moment is not viewed as imminent. When contracts expire and veteran careers reach their natural conclusion, the franchise will have the flexibility to reset properly. The financial picture suggests that when that time comes, significant space will open up, allowing for creative approaches to rebuilding. Draft assets, young players, and cap room can be leveraged in smart ways, similar to strategies used by other successful rebuilds around the league. Renting cap space, absorbing contracts for future assets, and stockpiling picks have all proven to be viable paths when executed with patience and discipline. For now, The commitment is clear. The team is staying the course, trusting the leadership in place, and believing that tweaks rather than upheaval will provide the best chance to compete. That does not mean standing still or ignoring flaws. It means addressing them methodically, identifying trends across the league, and adapting without panic. The game continues to evolve, and one area that has become increasingly important is physical presence in the paint, especially when it comes to generating second-chance opportunities. Extra possessions can swing close games, and teams that dominate the glass often control momentum in ways that do not always show up immediately on highlight reels. Those league-wide shifts have not gone unnoticed, and there are signs that the front office is actively evaluating how to respond. Paying attention to these trends signals an awareness that small changes can have outsized impact. Finding the right interior presence, balancing spacing with size, and supporting the stars with complementary skill sets are all part of that ongoing process. Rather than reacting emotionally to short-term struggles, the organization appears focused on aligning philosophy, personnel, and timing so that when the pieces fall into place, the team can surge instead of scramble. As the season continues, frustration will ebb and flow with every win and loss, but the underlying direction remains steady. The leadership believes in the group they have assembled, believes in the coach guiding it, and believes that patience paired with smart adjustments offers the strongest path forward. That conviction shapes every decision being made right now, even when it clashes with the loudest voices calling for immediate change. As that direction holds, the focus naturally shifts from emotional reactions to practical possibilities, and that is where things start to get more interesting. Instead of asking whether everything should be torn apart, the more realistic question becomes how this roster can be refined to better match the modern demands of the league. The front office is fully aware that the margin for error is thinner than it used to be, and that competing at the highest level now requires constant adaptation. The league has become bigger, more physical, and more efficient, especially around the basket, and ignoring those trends is no longer an option for any contender. One of the clearest issues facing this team is balance. There are nights when the offense flows beautifully, spacing the floor and moving the ball with precision, but there are also stretches where second chances disappear and interior defense becomes a problem. Those moments expose a lack of size and rebounding, not because of effort, but because of roster construction. In tight games, a single offensive rebound or a missed box out can swing momentum. And over the course of a season, those small edges add up. That reality is driving conversations internally, even if nothing dramatic happens immediately. What encourages optimism is the fact that ownership is not detached from these concerns. There is a genuine awareness of how the game is shifting and what needs to be addressed. That awareness does not guarantee a perfect solution, but it does suggest that the organization is not asleep at the wheel. Decisions are being evaluated through multiple lenses, from on-court fit to long-term flexibility, and that process takes time. Impulsive moves might satisfy frustration in the moment, but they rarely lead to sustained success. Another layer to this situation is the role of the veteran core and how it shapes every decision. When a team is built around experienced stars, the coaching staff must manage not only minutes and matchups, but also trust and rhythm. Those players have earned a voice, and the coach has consistently shown an ability to navigate that dynamic. That is not something that can be easily replicated by someone stepping in from the outside. The relationship between coach and stars often determines whether a team thrives or fractures under pressure. Because of that, any adjustments are more likely to come through personnel tweaks rather than philosophical overhauls. Adding the right complementary pieces can unlock different looks without forcing the core to change who they are. A stronger interior presence, improved rebounding, and a more reliable second unit can all elevate performance without disrupting chemistry. These are the kinds of moves that can quietly transform a team from inconsistent to dangerous, especially when the postseason approaches. There is also a broader strategic patience at play. The front office understands that the future will eventually bring a turning point when contracts expire and the new chapter begins. When that moment arrives, flexibility will be critical. Cap space, draft assets, and young contributors will determine how quickly the franchise can pivot and remain relevant. Observing how other teams have managed similar transitions offers a blueprint for what could come next, but those lessons are being filed away for later, not rushed into prematurely. For now, the message from the top remains consistent. Compete, adjust, and trust the process that has already proven capable of delivering at the highest level. That does not mean settling for mediocrity or ignoring warning signs. It means recognizing that progress is rarely linear and that even championship-caliber teams endure periods of doubt. The difference lies in how those moments are handled, whether through panic or through calculated response. As the schedule moves forward and matchups intensify, every game will serve as another data point. Strengths will become clearer, weaknesses harder to hide, and the pressure to respond will continue to grow. That pressure is not necessarily a bad thing. In many cases, it sharpens focus and accelerates learning. The key is channeling it productively, without losing sight of the larger picture. Ultimately, this season represents a test of belief as much as talent. Belief in leadership, belief in experience, and belief that smart adjustments can still push this group into meaningful contention. The path may not be smooth, and it may not look like the dominant runs of the past, but the commitment to competing remains strong. That commitment is what keeps the organization moving forward, even when the noise outside grows louder with every passing night. At the same time, internal discussions are likely centered around targeted improvements rather than sweeping changes. Finding the right player to fill a specific gap, whether as a rim protector, a secondary playmaker, or someone who can consistently stretch the floor, can shift the balance of the team without destabilizing the existing structure. The front office has the tools and the cap flexibility to pursue these pieces carefully, weighing fit, upside, and contract implications. Every decision is deliberate, aimed at keeping the Warriors competitive in the present while preserving options for the future. In addition, the development of younger players remains an essential part of the strategy. Even with a veteran-heavy roster, integrating emerging talent effectively can extend the team's window of contention. Players like Moses Moody and other rotational contributors are being observed closely, with coaching staff monitoring how their skills translate in high-pressure situations. Incremental growth from these younger contributors not only strengthens the team now, but also provides insurance against inevitable departures or injuries down the line. Balancing star power with developing talent is a nuanced challenge, and it is one the Warriors have shown an ability to manage over the years. Finally, fan patience and perception play an understated role in how the season unfolds. Expectations are naturally high for a team with championship pedigree, but understanding the complexity behind roster decisions and coaching strategy can temper frustration. The organization is aware that loyal supporters demand results, but they are also aware that sustainable success requires measured, intentional moves. By maintaining stability, addressing weaknesses strategically, and continuing to trust the leadership that has delivered before, the Warriors are positioning themselves to remain relevant while preparing for the eventual transition that will come when this era of superstars reaches its conclusion. Before we continue, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss any exclusive Dubs updates. Let's keep going. In what would be the blockbuster move of the decade, whispers around the league suggest that the Golden State Warriors could be making a stunning play for Boston Celtics star Jason Tatum. If true, this maneuver would send shockwaves across the NBA, redefining the balance of power between East and West. Sources close to the organization hint that the Warriors, known for their calculated yet bold roster moves, have been in intense discussions, exploring multiple trade packages that could finally bring Tatum to the Bay Area. The potential implications are enormous. Tatum, one of the most versatile forwards in the league, would instantly elevate Golden State's offensive firepower, pairing his scoring and playmaking with the sharpshooting prowess of Stephen Curry and the defensive versatility of Draymond Green. Analysts speculate that the move could transform the Warriors from perennial contenders to near-unstoppable juggernauts, capable of challenging any team in the league at a moment's notice. Reactions from the Eastern Conference have been nothing short of dramatic. League insiders describe disbelief and, in some corners, outright panic among rival front offices. A figure like Tatum leaving Boston for the West would not just weaken one team. It could shift the dynamics of the entire conference, leaving teams scrambling to adjust their championship strategies. Rumors suggest that Celtics fans are already bracing for the fallout, while Eastern stars are reportedly shaking their heads at what some are calling a raid of unprecedented proportions. The Warriors' front office has remained tight-lipped, fueling further speculation. Observers note that Golden State has a history of making moves that defy expectations, and the idea of pairing their established core with Tatum seems almost too tempting for them to pass up. Yet, questions linger. How would the Celtics respond? What assets would be on the table? And most importantly, could this rumor become reality, changing the NBA landscape forever? For now, fans can only watch with bated breath. The possibility of Tatum in a Warriors jersey is enough to dominate locker room chatter, social media debates, and sports talk shows coast to coast. One thing is clear. If this move happens, the ripple effects would be felt from Boston to San Francisco, and every team caught in the East-West chess match would have to rethink everything. The NBA may never look the same again. Stay updated exclusively with the latest Dub Nation news. Subscribe to our channel and hit the like button to keep getting daily updates on the Warriors. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Your input is essential for the Dubs community. Stay tuned for the next video.